evening, and thank you so much for coming to listen to me today talk about such a wonderful strategy that can be used in the classroom, in any environment, any setting. I will be talking to you today about the role playing strategy and how it can be very effective and successfully used in the classroom. And any student, any individual, any participant can become involved and engaged, and as a result, learn something from what was discussed and what was acted out. I shall begin talking to you through a series of procedures or steps on how the role playing strategy can be utilized. Step 1, explain the objective to the students or to the participants. Each individual should know the reason why the role playing strategy is being used in the first place. It would be kind of difficult to carry out the discussion method when students don't really know why it's being done. It's good for them to know why is it being done, how will it be done. They should know what type of behaviors need to be exhibited throughout the role playing. And again, why should it be done in the first place? What is the importance from it? What do they need to learn from it when the whole activity is over with? So again, it's good to explain the objectives to the students so again, they'll know what to expect and that they will carry out those expectations. Our next step is for students or participants to choose the roles. What character will they be playing? Are they playing an architect? Could this be a character from the story or from a movie? Depending on what the topic is, students, participants need to decide on what role he or she would like to play. This needs to be done so that way students can start thinking about, okay, what he or she needs to do to carry out that role effectively and successfully. So with that, this leads us to our next step, which is introducing the exercise to the participants. Again, it's kind of like saying explaining the objectives. Only in this step, students are really diving into what exactly needs to be done in this exercise. Not only do they choose the roles, but now they need to know what do they need to do? How should they study for this character? Do props need to be used? Should they wear costumes? Even though I must add that wearing costumes or props aren't really needed for educational purposes, but that can be discussed. Once the exercise is introduced to them, then students will know what to do next. Okay, again, this outlines what exactly they need to do, what are their expectations, what are their orders. Do they need to write down anything? How long will they need to study? This all plays a part in introducing the role play activity to the participants. Step 4, the preparing and the researching. This will perhaps be the longest part of the whole process because students or participants need to study. This is the time where the facilitator needs to tell the individuals exactly how long do they have to research this role. Will they need to study the character? Do they have overnight to do it? Or do they only have one class period? I would highly recommend for the facilitator to allow individuals to study that character overnight That way, come bright and early in the morning, they are ready to go, ready to act. Sure, before the start of the role play, they can be given ample time to do a little practicing, a little bit of preparing, but when that day comes, individuals need to be ready to go, ready to act out their parts. And this also can bring some comfort to students who may not be used to acting or have not done anything like this before. And I'm probably sure that many students have not. Yes, they've probably played pretend and done role playing in their younger years. But, as teenagers and those get older, it becomes harder and more difficult to play pretend. So, this gives participants enough time to really research the role and really become comfortable within that character, to be that character, to become that role. Our next step is beginning the role play. This is the fun part. Students, participants, individuals can officially act their part. Now, again, as I said before, students might be offered ample time to prepare before the role play begins, but they should be ready to go on that day. Again, students should enjoy, have fun, become engaged. Those who are doing the actual role playing, should be a small group in front of the classroom, you wouldn't want a whole class role playing at one time. It probably would be chaos. So students should be given the chance to work in small groups and role playing up front in front of the classroom, small groups at a time, not the whole class. So those who are not role playing at the time, they're still participating by simply watching and listening. Again, they need to pay close attention so that they can learn what's going on. That information that is being displayed before them up front might be needed for when they do a project or a test or something in a later time. And again, I want to add, props and costumes aren't necessary for the educational experience, but if it is wanted, that's okay. And our last step, step 6, is the debriefing. As with any activity, especially with discussions, there needs to be some type of debrief of what was learned. The facilitator needs to discuss with the students, how did everything go? What went well? What could use improvement? What do they need to talk about? What could be done for next time? In this way, students can interact with each other and discuss if they liked the activity and would they do it again. And hopefully they would, because again, it's an engaging activity where all students can get involved. So again, the debriefing is a very important part of the process. One can think of it as an evaluation of what he or she will do for the next go around. I will present to you a role-playing video. In this video, you can see the teenagers are role-playing a visit to the restaurant. Here they have costumes, props, pretty much everything set up. But again, it's not necessary. But if students and the teachers and facilitators would like that, that's okay too. Enjoy. And due to the length of the video, I'll play only a part of it.
Buongiorno, people, buongiorno. Bellissima bambina. Hello. Oh, what? Yeah, who are you? How's you, sir? Yes, Vladimir Boston. Oh, yes, Vladimir. Okay, singer?
A wine, a dress,
A jazz star?
I wanna see Lionel.
Okay, a straw blue for the child. Okay, and for eat, what do you want to eat?
Papa.
What?
To eat, Papa. Papa.
Vodka. Oh,
I want
sorry. Oh. Oh, sorry, people. Everything. Sorry. Everything. Yes, it's clean. We're at the extreme experiences. Everything. Please don't care. The food is coming. Here is your vodka, and here is your honesty. I'm good sorry,
I sure do hope they get their food. Eventually they do. It's a pretty long video, so I just stopped it and rewinded some of it so you could see the funny part of it. Again, as you can see, it looks like the students or participants in this video thoroughly enjoyed what they were acting and what they were doing. And I can almost assure you that individuals, participants, students will thoroughly enjoy role-playing their activity when the day comes. This gives them a chance to become somebody else, see a perspective that they might have never thought of before, look into another world or journey that they're not used to seeing or experiencing. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video, and when used effectively and successfully, you and your students will enjoy it as well. It's a time of learning, being engaged, being motivated about the text or whatever current issue or event is going on. Thank you so much for listening to me tonight, and have a great evening.